Hello, we got a gorgeous fall day at last. I'd like to welcome you all to the Salem Witch Trials Memorial. The Salem Award Foundation, one of the things we do is we focus on contemporary issues of human rights and social justice as a way of keeping alive the lessons of the 1692 witch trials. For those of you who are local, you probably know us best because of the award we give every year to a champion of human rights. But we're also stewards of this memorial, along with the Peabody Essex Museum and the City of Salem. And then the third thing that we try and focus on is providing some educational programming. Tent talks, as you probably saw on the sign, are very brief, 15-minute or so talks. And today I am absolutely delighted to tell you that our speaker is the mayor of the City of Salem, Kimberly Driscoll. I think she needs absolutely no introduction. Her topic is on the subject of being a city of inclusion. If you want to know more about the Salem Award Foundation, there's literature up front, and I'm sure if you want to know more about the City of Salem, we got a great website for you to check out. So, without further ado, Kimberly Driscoll, the mayor of the City of Salem.
Thank you, Shelby. And thanks to all the members of the Salem Award Foundation. I see several members of the board who are here, and it's really, as I always say, the least we can do to remember what happened here in 1692 by not only having this site and this memorial, but all the work the Salem Award Foundation Committee does throughout the year to recognize social justice and human rights throughout the world with the Salem Award. So thanks to that group for their efforts and for organizing this. So I'm not going to actually stand underneath the tent. I'll try and get a little bit closer to folks, and it's just an opportunity for me to briefly talk about modern-day Salem. For the visitors who are here, I hope you're enjoying the amazing history. I feel really privileged to be mayor of a community that dates back to not only the beginning of our country, but well beyond that. Many of us obviously are familiar with the events of 1692 and really how tragic they were. It's a very notorious part of our history. And while it drives a lot of the economy in October, we do want to make sure we're always mindful of the lessons that came out of 1692. And I think we do that in a number of ways. We've mentioned the memorial and the Salem Award Foundation, but modern day Salem today, and really in the very relevant future, the very recent future, we have been a community that's really embraced inclusion. And I think it, in part, dovetails with the reaction to what happened here in 1692. So today's Salem, very inclusive place, very diverse community. Although we're only 8 square miles and 42,000 people, we welcome people from all over. Our schools, we teach in 14 different languages, and we welcome that. It makes things more challenging at times, different languages, different cultures melding together, but it hasn't resulted in hostility or hostile relations that you might see in other places. And I think that all does harken back to a place that knows the value of tolerance. More recently, we've adopted a fully LGBT inclusive non-discrimination ordinance. We're actually one of the first communities in Massachusetts, I believe the 5th, to have an ordinance that recognizes we are going to stand up to hatred in all forms. We do have a No Place for Hate committee. Again, members here as well work with the Salem Award Foundation that celebrates our diversity and recognizes ways to honor the many different people who come here from different places, who live here and call Salem home. And it is meant to be a very welcoming place. Our HRC index, the Human Rights Commission, we have a municipal equality index that gives us a score of 100. And that means, again, we're looking for ways to make sure that people who come here, different backgrounds, different beliefs, are welcome, know that they have the good housekeeping seal of approval for our community. And it's something that we're very, very proud of. Thank you, Betty Ray. It's not easy to get 100% if you're familiar with the index, but for us it is. And more importantly, these sorts of actions are done, the non-discrimination ordinance went through our city council with 40 organizations within our community, from youth organizations, religious organizations, and others standing up in support of it, a unanimous vote of our legislative body. So it's not just me as the mayor or one particular group, our No Place for Hate committee, our Salem Award Foundation. It really is an active part of our community, this idea that we're going to be tolerant of others, and not just tolerant, but frankly welcoming and open to different folks from different backgrounds and different beliefs. And I think it's a little bit of what makes Salem special, especially in October, where I guess it's a mischievous holiday and there's all sorts of carrying going on that happens. But for us, it's also an opportunity to embrace the fact that we're different is what drives us to be a better place. I tend to think it makes Salem more livable. The fact that we have different cultures and different languages and different backgrounds within our community means that we're a more livable place for everyone. And in fact, it really informs and drives our decisions going forward. So when you think about Salem in 1692, or if you're a Bewitched fan and you think about Salem from that era when they actually filmed an episode here, it makes me laugh to think that modern day Salem is so very different. We have streets that Nathaniel Hawthorne worked on, and streets, frankly, that many of us can go back in history and still see those very streets, those very houses, those very buildings in existence. But the attitude, the culture here is very different than it was in many respects. Going back into our maritime age of history, we welcomed ships from all over, and many of the people who lived in Salem took these incredible journeys across to other continents, the Far East in particular, and brought back amazing wares. And if you go back in history and look at the diaries of what Salem was like in the 17 and 1800s, they talk about it being a remarkable place, that you never exactly knew what you were going to see when you walked down the street because people brought back these amazing wares and they were out for display. In fact, our modern day Peabody Essex Museum, right across the street from us, began as the Peabody Marine Society, where these amazing sea captains took these very dangerous and treacherous voyages, and if they were lucky enough to make it back, they needed a place to house these amazing wares, and that today is the PEM. So as we think about modern day Salem, we pay homage to our history, we recognize its importance, we take away the incredible valuable lessons that we've learned, yes, around tolerance with the witch trials, but also recognizing our place, playing our role in the birth of this new country, and wanting to be welcoming to the people who come here, whether they're from the Far East, bringing back incredible wares, or our Latino community who hails mostly from Santo Domingo. We feel as a community that we can be welcoming to all, and we're glad that so many folks have embraced that. Those who live here, different neighborhoods, different dialects. It's an amazing place to live here today, even as we celebrate this crazy month of October with all the visitors who are here. Welcome. We are happy when you come, and we are happy when you go, we like to say. And we want everybody to be safe and have an enjoyable time, but we are all excited when November 1st comes and we can go back to just being our regular old crazy selves and embracing the many folks who do live here. So with that, I think my 1692 minutes may be up, but I'll be happy to take questions. We've got folks who live here, we've got folks who look like they're visitors, and I'm happy to, and I want to recognize our Councilor Tom Fury I see here. Nice to have you here, Tom. Longtime city councilor, former school committee member, and happy to take questions from anyone if there's any interest. Do I do any readings with the witches? I probably could use a crystal ball on some days. I have not partaken in that activity, but there are lots of folks here who do, and we do value and celebrate the Wiccan religion. There are many folks here who reside in our community who practice Wicca. Geez, we have an election on Tuesday, so that might be one of my particular questions. I don't know that I'd have a question as much as I'd have a hope. Salem has this amazingly well-known history, but I think our future is even brighter, and I would want to celebrate that with whomever I'm talking who's reading cards or crystal balls or palms, is celebrating the incredible future that we have in our community, not only by the people who are here, but the young people who grow up blind to, the issues that, frankly, other countries, other nations, and other communities still struggle with. We here in Salem embrace our diversity, and I'm glad my own children are being raised blind to all those injustices that exist in other places still. Excellent. Welcome. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Enjoy your stay. All right. That's a really good, thank you, I will, Beth. So where we're standing right now is actually begun in 1992, the Witch Trials Tercentenary. It was started out as a project of the city, Salem State College, the former Mayor Neil Harrington and former president of Salem State at the time College, Nancy Harrington, working with the Peabody Essex Museum and other nonprofits in town, decided we needed to memorialize the events that happened here in 1692 in a thoughtful way. A design competition was held, and an architect by the name of Richard Cutler and his partner Maggie, whose name escapes me, won this design competition. It was an international competition. There were more than a dozen submissions, and this particular memorial was the one that was selected. Thanks to the good work and fundraising efforts of the Salem Award Foundation with some support from the city. Anybody who goes to the city's Witch House, a portion of the proceeds of the admission tickets go to support the Salem Award Foundation, and this memorial was recently refurbished. And it recognizes all 20 victims of the witch trials, and obviously as you move around you can see the names inscribed on the various benches. It also has locust trees, the first to lose their leaves, to recognize the significance of the witch trials. And frankly, as I said, that was a notorious part of our city's history, one that is a big part of October and drives some of the economy here, but for us represents a really valuable social lesson about mob rule. And it was 6 weeks of an incredibly difficult time in our community, frankly larger than Salem, the current Salem. It went all the way up to Danvers, and thankfully there were good people who at the end of this said enough. And today the Salem Award recognizes good people who say enough throughout the world with an award for social justice and human rights. Thanks, Beth, for that. Well, enjoy your stay here for the visitors, and for the folks who live here, thanks for coming down and for all you do to make Salem a very special place.